Okay, so let's give these some materials. First thing I want to do is give us a nice lighting in the back so we can at least see how our materials look. And I will use a HDRI. You can get it on my website. Link is down below. It's for free, don't worry. And so first thing we need is the shade editor. So I'm gonna move this one and make this a shade editor, and I like to keep this at a timeline, to be honest. And you go into world here and add a environment map. So an environment map, open, and we will use this HDRI. Goes into the color, and as you can see here is that, well, we can't see a lot yet, and that's mostly because, well, it would still work in Eevee, but I personally like cycles so much, so I'm gonna do it in cycles for right now. And you can see the lighting, right? So personally I do this at 0.7, I think. Gives a bit more shadows so we can see what's happening, and awesome. So let's go into our camera view and let's click a noodle. Noodle. Object, new, spaghetti. Who touched my spaghetti? I'm gonna move this a bit up. This is literally just gonna be a very simple one, by the way. Yeah, it's just yellowish. Let's look at our thing. Maybe a little bit more yellow, but something like this. Don't be too hung up on that. And I like it that they are a little bit more shiny, so 0.2 maybe. And if you want them, all of them, to have this color, then I would recommend you to just do it like this. Remember the last one you have selected, because that one has the material. This. Select everything, and then the last one that has the material, Ctrl L and do materials. So now they all have the same material. See? Awesome. Let's go to the meatballs. La meatball. Here, meatball. And with this I went a little bit more crazy, let's say. First thing I did is go in here, add a modifier, and we're gonna give it a little bit of a subdivision surface. And I think I put this quite high, but let's put it at 3 first and a render at like 5. So only when we render we actually get this amount. And what I did is add a displacement here. So displace, and this displacement, what I gave this is a texture. And you can see this texture in here, in a texture mode. So this texture is, let me look here, and I made it a cloud texture. So we want these to be a little bit bigger, right? So let's do them at this. We just want a meatball that is kinda not round, so maybe even bigger. I just want a non-round meatball. So this will be okay, right? And you can choose how much you want it to work. So 0.2 seemed okay in my opinion. You can even go like 0.15. So after this I want to add another displacement, and let's do it. And also for this we create a new material, and this material will be the texture 0.001, and I want this to be way smaller, like kind of a noise texture, so 0.1. And if you go back into your thing here, then you can see that you should definitely change the size, so 0.01. And now you can kind of figure out how much you want every one of them to work. So it's a kinda fiddly, but we just, with the first texture what we're doing, which I need to put at 001 again, what we're doing is just give it a non-roundness. And with the second one, we're actually making these very small and sharp details, right? So I'm gonna put it a bit higher. I should probably... It's annoying because sometimes you gotta keep clicking at them. See, because now it changed both. But the texture one, I wanted like this small would even be nice. So 0.01. And this, I would actually like this. So this will work for me. And if you want them to all of these, so first make sure you apply their scales, right? So here, select them, Ctrl A, scale. Because if you don't apply the scales, then the modifiers will work differently. That's just why. And then select this one as last, Ctrl L, and do your modifiers. Ta-da! They're all the same. Awesome. So let's give this a material. Meatball. And this material, what I want to do is make it brown, but not just all the way the same color. So I like to put a color ramp in here. And actually, the color ramp itself won't do a lot. It will just take the half of this color ramp, like it will just take the average. So we need to put it in with a noise texture or something like this. But right now we're gonna do the noise texture. And we put this in the FUC, and now you can see that if I put this, doesn't seem like it's doing a lot. Oh, we are in our, we need to look here, of course. Yeah, now you can see it. So you can see that we can change this stuff, right? So what I want to do is make this nice brown. We have a nice brown. Nice meatball brown. Yeah, something like this will be cool. And then this one we do a bit darker, so it's a bit like almost burnt. And then we just move them for however we want it, and we can change the scale. So you can see it. It's sometimes it's a bit hard to see. If you put the roughness up, you can maybe see it a bit better. But you can see that we have some differences in here. And you can always move these ones around, right? To give it a bit more of a contrast between them. So let's say this is what we want. Now I of course also want a nice roughness because there's a lot of fat in these meatballs. Look at that delicious thing. So yeah, if you can do it at 0.2 might also be good, right? Don't do it too high. If you want to give this material also to the other ones, just select the ones last, Ctrl L, and then materials. Awesome. In the middle, what do we have? Sometimes I forget what do we all have in the scene. Yeah, we have this ball here. And I thought it would be fun if we just make this like a ceramic, just like a plate would be. So it's just a round plate, let's say. So this will be ceramic. And let's just make the ceramic super easy. It's just white, maybe even brighter than this one. Totally bright, maybe a little bit less. And then specular. Roughness will be like very, very, very shiny. So maybe almost at 0. 0.005, something like that. Awesome. So that will be that. And then as last we have our sauce, right? So it's called fluid, the main material. It automatically gives it a material. I like to give this the name, I'm not even sure what the sauce is called. Bolognese? No. Ragu. Ragu. It's the real Italian name. Ragu. Ask my Italian girlfriend, she knows. So I like to give this a subdivision surface, just so we have a little bit of a smoother, you know, ragu. And we already have some stuff in here, which I do not want. I don't really care about these. What I just do want, I want a principal shader in here. Put this in here. And now it's time for us to play a little bit around with these values. So let me look in my other scene what we have. So it's kind of the same as our meatball. So you can actually select these, click on Ctrl C, go into your other one, Ragu. Control V. So now you can just paste this into here, let's say, and you have these colors. So these are also, of course, not the colors that we want, and we want to change a lot, but that's handy, right? So let's give this a nice and bright ketchupy color. Oh, I'm not sure. I don't want to play around too much with these colors right now. But yeah, you guys know what I mean, right? And then this at like 10. No, a little bit. With this you can play a little bit around, like how you want it. Just so it's not one solid color, and you can even, you know, move these a bit around so you can have a lot of choice. Awesome. And now what I also like to do is get another, let me move this up a bit, noise texture. Noise. Put the effect into the displacement. And hey, why did I do for a noise? I said, right? Yeah. Put this effect into the displacement. And yeah, move it a bit around. Let's look how it looks when we render it. Yeah, so we kind of want to fake a few pieces of meat that are still in there, right? A nice thick sauce. And of course the roughness, yeah, this should be way more shiny. So 0.1 or even like lower. And if you don't like this amount, which it might be a little bit much, then you can always put a math node in here. And with this math node, put it on multiply and just put it a bit lower. Like you can just change this value and then we'll go a bit lower. Cool, so if we unhide everything, so if we start from the beginning, here we can only see our domain, right? We do not want this, and we talked about this before. So the last thing we need to do is, what I like to do is just get a transparent in here, transparent shader, and we use a mix shader in here, and we can actually give this shader keyframes. So it will have the keyframe from when did it start, at 100, right? So at 100, it only, till 100 keyframes, it will be only giving us a transparent shader. So this will be the insert. And from 101, we do not want this transparency anymore. We want only to work this principled shader. So what happens is, if we render it right now, it will just be transparent. You cannot see it. But if it is here, then you'll be able to see our, well, where is it? Our sauce, which will be coming very soon. Yeah, it's a bit slow. Cool. So let's save this. So everything is on here now. Let's render it, or let's look at it. We can see that our materials are working great, and we have our we have everything. This is so fun, dude. I love it. And then our sauce will come on top. So yeah, that's kind of how we do this. So I hope you guys learned from this. And if there are any questions, please post them. And oh yeah, by the way, also post your fucking videos, dude. This is so fun. Or your renders. Maybe you don't want to wait till it's all, you know, like a whole animation is rendered, but yeah. By the way, I should show you where you should post. I will also put our Facebook group in the bottom, so you can just join us. Yeah, see you guys. Peace.